Hello and welcome to today's Meet the Author program at Silas Bronson Library. My name is Becky Bridges and I'm a librarian here at Silas Bronson. Our special guest author today is Mr. Shelby Davis. Mr. Davis is a counselor in the public school system and a college professor. He received his master's in counseling and higher education from the University of Bridgeport. Mr. Davis is also a graduate of Western Connecticut State University with a Bachelor of Arts in Social Work. A true Connecticut native, in his spare time, he enjoys volunteering, acting, and directing in theater arts, exercising, and traveling. Shelby also mentors individuals in his community and is a vibrant educator of diversity-related issues, theater, and career building. Shelby has written an inspirational self-help book geared to youth and teens called Everything My Parents Taught Me in 6 Steps. Welcome and thanks so much for joining us today, Shelby.
Thank you for having me.
This is a wonderful book. I just read it and
Thank you.
I think it's really needed and wonderful and inspirational. Can you just talk a little bit about yourself and tell us what brought you to writing it?
Sure. I think for most of my life, I've always wanted to help people, inspire people, motivate people, get people through whatever they're going through. And so I decided one day while I was attending a conference in Florida for counselors that I needed a book. I needed a text, something that I can pass on to people so that they can have the little inspiration to get through whatever they're going through, a little motivational kick, something that they can carry with them. I called it kind of like the table read, something that's on the table. It's just there, you pick up every now and then, and you just need some inspiration. So that's why I did it.
That's great. And did you specifically gear it to teens and children?
While I work in public schools and I work in K through 12, I've been through K through 12, and I thought that was my target when I started writing it. But then as I wrote, I was like, this relates to anybody, any age. Everyone needs a little motivation. So I started it for teens, but towards the end, I started to gear it towards everybody because we all can use that inspiration each and every day.
Absolutely. And I think it's wonderful that you had kids and teens in mind too, and they so need this kind of inspiration. And it's the kind of book that you can carry around. It's not too heavy. And a lot of good advice in here. So can you talk a little bit about what inspired you, your mom and dad? You mentioned them and you dedicate the book to them and how they inspired you. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I have 2 great parents who've always inspired me and motivate me to succeed. And I kind of use a lot of the teachings that they taught me as a teenager, as a young adult, and I kind of compiled them. When I first started writing the book, I had like 40 things. And I was like, okay, 40 things is too much. We got to cut this down. So as I wrote, I cut things out, I combined things. And so I came up with 6 things towards the end. It went from like 40 to 12 to 6. So I try to use some of the teachings and the values that my parents have taught me to help others motivate them.
That's great. So what do you see that kids struggle with a lot now, especially now with COVID and everything? And how does this book relate?
Yeah, I would say step number 3 in the book, which is stay motivated. I mean, sometimes we do lose our motivation, especially with change. Change tends to discourage people. So we have to always remember to stay motivated and to continue to strive and to work hard. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So keep going for it.
Yeah. So how do kids find that motivation? You know, right now with kids having to stay home and work from home and do their everything on Zoom, and how do they find that?
We really have to highlight the positive things in their life and kind of not always say, well, you got an F in this class. No, let's start saying that, oh, I noticed that you turned in 3 homework assignments this week. That's great. Or you've been to school every day this week. That's great. You're trying. You're putting the motivation there to try and just keep trying and you will reach that goal. So we have to highlight the positive things in life.
Yeah. So there are 6 steps. Can you briefly tell us what those 6 steps are?
All right. So set a goal, be educated, stay motivated, be yourself, have fun, and count your blessings.
Yes. All great steps.
Very important.
Absolutely. Now, the first one is set goals.
Yes. Yep.
And can you talk about that a little bit? Long term, short term, and
Yeah, so I actually talk about short-term goals and long-term goals. For example, I talk about, when you're in high school, what are your goals? A long-term goal. Your short-term goal might be like, oh, I want to get a job and work a year and then go to college, or I want to be a doctor as a long-term goal. So it's all about, it's trying to set some goals. I talk about maybe having a goal sheet and kind of crossing things off as you go along, or a vision board, putting things on a board, and then it gives you inspiration each and every day to achieve your goals.
yeah, so writing things down, really important. Yeah,
Yeah, it shows a big accomplishment too when you get to cross that thing off and say, I did this.
yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Um, and you talk about being proactive.
Yes. Yep. As much as people can, I encourage you to be proactive. Sometimes we don't. My personality is I'm very much I guess a little bit more proactive. I prepare and do a lot of things before. So I encourage people to try that out. If you got something coming up, if you know you have a test on Friday, be proactive. Or just say you get a syllabus when you first start a class and you see assignments are due and you have some free time, be proactive and start it early.
Great. And practical. Mentioned practicality, which I thought was a great point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, and what about comparing your path with other people's?
I don't think that's a great thing to do. I think it's important to understand that you have your own path and it may take a different turn, especially in the day of age of social media. We're always looking at what the other person has, what the other person is. We never take a minute to be grateful for what we have and our own accomplishments and our own talents and uniqueness. So it's important to really, really walk your own path.
Which is different, though, than having heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's great to have a hero to inspire to be like, but I think sometimes we're like, well, Johnny over there, he has three cars. Why can't I have three cars? It's like we're comparing ourselves. Yeah, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't really know what Johnny's going through next door.
Right, right. So you give an example of a student of yours named Tyler. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, Tyler was a student that was in a course that I taught, and I thought he was very inspirational. Where he was an individual who had a Tourette's, and as much as that could get people down, he never let it get him down. He always strived. He was a star athlete, and he really got good grades, and has kept that moving. Even though people may say, "Well, look at that kid. He's a weird kid," something like that. Never let any of that get that down if that happened, and just kept striving for the top. He found his motivation. He walked his own path, and he continues to succeed today.
Great, great. So it's a lot about mindset.
Mindset. You have to have a positive mind. Yep.
Yeah. And choice. I think
Absolutely.
that's another thing, we have to remember that we always have a choice to make. We can decide that we want to be a certain way and have a certain perspective, and we can train our minds
Mhm.
to think that way. Yeah. Um, and then your second step.
Yes. Education. Education is important. I mean, you always want to increase the knowledge in your mind and your brain, whether it's just taking a trade or going to college, or if you want to take a fun course like learning computers. Just be educated. Keep building that mindset. Keep building that mind. There's always something out there. Keep busy.
Yeah. And um, I like the point that you made. It's not just to be educated, but to have a productive career.
Yeah.
And it's both really, and both are important.
Mhm.
And do you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Oh, can you repeat that again?
Oh, sure. About not just to be educated, but to have a productive career and to be focused on that as a future goal.
Yeah, I think that you want to be very active in your life. A lot of people, not say a lot of people, some people just go to work and they don't do anything outside the work, and they go home and they sit on the couch. I mean, let's keep motivated. Do something else, like expand your horizons a little bit. It's like make life what you want it to be. Be productive.
Yeah. And you do a lot of theater work too, right?
A lot, a lot. So, I do my regular job in the school system. I run a non-for-profit theater organization in Waterbury, Connecticut, and I also teach acting classes individually. And I do community theater as well.
Wow.
I love it.
Busy. That's great. What's the name of your theater organization?
City Youth Theater. Yep, City Youth Theater just opened last year. Unfortunately, the pandemic really shut us down with any other theater organization across the world. So we're just waiting for things to quiet down a little bit, and we'll be ready up. And then it's open to any youth in the greater Waterbury area. It's absolutely free.
Great, great. And then your third step is stay motivated. Can you talk about extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation?
You have to really find your motivation. You can't really always expect to be motivated to be rewarded. You have to find your own reward within, for example, let's say that you're a student and you're just doing it to reward your parent. That's great, absolutely, but you always want to do something to reward yourself. So you have your own self gratification, your own feeling of accomplishment, and not just because you're going to get an A and you're going to get $20 at the end of the week for getting an A. You have to find your own motivation for it because you want to get an A because you want to be a scholarly student.
And you can make goals with that too, right?
Absolutely, and those
you have little things and to meet that big thing.
Absolutely,
yeah.
It all goes hand in hand.
Absolutely, great. And you talk about mindset and attitude and not letting fear interrupt it.
Yes, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that plays a big role, I'm sure. And overcoming that fear can be tough. Can you talk about how you might go about overcoming that fear? Because I know that when I was a kid, I felt very fearful about a lot of things, and it would have been really great for me to have a mentor like you to say to me, okay, do this, do that, this is how you can, build up that mindset, get over that fear.
Right. I think the first step of overcoming fear is taking that step towards the fear. And I use an example of an individual who wanted to audition for a musical, freshman child who's never did a musical, wasn't the greatest singer, so had a fear that, they were going to get on stage and be laughed at. And I said to the student, I said, the first step of overcoming the fear is taking the step. They took the step, they got on the stage, they sang the best that they can, and they got up and they were like, wow, that was great. I can't wait to do it again. And so absolutely, the first step to overcoming your fear is taking the step towards the fear.
Yeah. Great. And you talked about having a schedule and also being flexible.
Yes. Yep. For me personally, I always have a schedule book. It keeps things in line, and it's a little bit of organization. Yep.
There's so much to writing things down. It really helps in many regards. Yeah. Scheduling.
And organization is very important. I say a lot for college students or any student, if you use your planner and you can keep things organized, it helps you. You can put your goals in there. You can put little self-motivational quotes in there. So organization and calendars can go a long way.
Yeah. Well, you had some great quotes in the book too.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill and Bender from Breakfast Club. I love that quote. And your number 4 step.
Yes, number 4, we're talking about being yourself. Again, going back to what we talked about earlier, a lot of times people look to the next person. They want to be like that person when they're really not like that person. You just have to really be okay with who you are. Be yourself, be accepting with who you are. Whether you're white, black, big, small, no matter who you are, you really have to become comfortable with who you are.
Yeah.
I actually was doing a workshop at a conference about being yourself for a while, which was pretty fun.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So is that something you might do again in the future?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, when the pandemic is over, I would like to do all these things. I miss being able to do in-person talks and meet and greets because it's my favorite thing to do. You make so much great connections that way.
Yeah. Are you doing anything on Zoom that's kind of like that?
Actually, I'm not doing a Be Yourself workshop. The only thing I'm doing on Zoom next is I'm doing a writer's workshop for anyone who's interested in writing a book or who just needs some motivation, some tips or tricks to write a book. So I'm doing that free of charge. And that is actually, I believe it's in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's fantastic. How would people find out about that?
You can go to www.shelbycdavis.com.
Great. Thank you. And then what's YOLO?
YOLO, the kids say it all the time. You only live once. YOLO, try new things. be adventurous, explore, but be safe, of course, because you really get to see what life is about. Travel if you can. Even if you live in and you really can't travel, but you can take a walk in a park next door that you never done to. Explore, get out there.
Yeah. And I thought another interesting thing that you mentioned was not being offended when somebody drives by you too fast, or they don't answer your text quick enough or something like that. Trying to kind of sit back from it and say, okay, well, try not to be too offended. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we act before we think. I think that sometimes we have to think and then act. The outcome might be better. And I use the example of people who cut you off and you start, going like this and everything, or the person in the grocery store comes in front of you, gets in front of you, and you start mouthing off. So we have to learn to think more before we act and not let so many things get to us, because sometimes it's really not worth it. You just have to learn. There was a song by Jay-Z, and he used to say, dust your shoulder off. Just shoulder off, let it go.
Yeah, yeah. I think you can be a
Frozen said,
happier
let it go,
person that
let it
way.
go.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, definitely. And then you mentioned staying active and involved and thinking
mhm.
positively, all really important things.
Absolutely. You want to
Yeah.
stay active as best as you can. If there is a skill or there is something you enjoy, if you like playing music, maybe find a local group you can be a part of or make a band of your own. Really hone in on those skills and things that you enjoy.
Mm. And I think you kind of pointed this out too, that if you start thinking something kind of negative, that if you
Hmm.
can replace it with a positive thought and a positive activity,
Absolutely.
that's so powerful.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You want to replace those negative mindsets with positive mindsets.
Yeah. And then counting your blessings, of course. Yeah.
Yes, my parents really always reminded me that you need to be grateful for what you have because some people may not have that who want that. So really appreciate what you have, no matter how big or small it is. You have to be grateful. Count your blessings.
Yeah. And not judging others, taking
Yes.
care of your body and your
Yep.
mind.
Be kind, not judging others. I was a firm believer of being respectful of others. How you doing? Nice to see you. Thank you, sir. Just being a kind-hearted person
Yeah,
goes a long way.
definitely. And live boldly.
Yeah, you have to live boldly. You have to enjoy life. You truly have to enjoy life, because for some lives can be too short. So you really have to enjoy life and be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of went through a synopsis of your book. Um, what's next for you, Shelby?
All right, so I am working on a children's book. It's a character book. It's cartoon, and that's pretty much it right now. It's a surprise, so I want to wait a little bit. I don't want to really jumpstart the finishing product yet because I would like to go out there to schools and stuff and meet kids
Mm,
with the book. The book is based on a real life person, so I want to be able to bring that person with me and do events and stuff like that. So I'm trying to see how the pandemic plays out and see when social gatherings of some sort are okay again.
yeah. Oh, that's great. We'll look forward to that, and we'll have to
I
have
can't
you
wait.
come and read it.
I can't wait. Yeah.
That'll be
So
awesome.
there's going to be always information on my website and on my social media page, on Facebook. So there'll be updates and stuff like that when the character will be finally be able to be revealed.
Great, great. So we'll be anxious to see that, and that's going to be you're kind of playing that by ear a little.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm hoping at this point it's going to be spring.
yeah.
So soon, really soon.
Good, good,
Yes.
great. And I also want to mention that we do have Mr. Davis's book here at the library, and we have a couple copies of it. And you can also purchase it, I'm sure. Where would we purchase the book?
Yeah, you can go right on Amazon and type in my name or Barnes and Noble as well online.
Okay, great. And if you were to kind of wrap up your philosophy in a few sentences and give some advice to kids and teens, especially, I know that's a
Yeah,
big
so
question.
all right, so life is truly what you make it. I encourage you, I inspire you I want to motivate you to face your challenges, take on your challenges. Don't be scared. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and yeah, everything will be good. Everything will be good. The sun will shine again. So stay motivated. You can do it. The world is your oyster.
Great. Thanks so much, Shelby. So again, the book is called Everything My Parents Taught Me in 6 Steps by Mr. Shelby Davis. And anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to talk about, Shelby?
No, I think we hit it all. I just want to keep encouraging people to stay motivated, really be yourself, have some fun, be safe, and enjoy this life.
Thank you. And again, what was your website?
It's shelbycdavis.com.
And you have a Facebook page too?
Yep, it's Shelby C. Davis.
Okay, super.
Yes, wonderful.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Visit Mr. Davis's website at shelbycdavis.com or visit him on Facebook at facebook.com/THE Shelby Davis. Meet the Author is a Silas Bronson Library children's program. For more information on Silas Bronson Library's programs, visit bronsonlibrary.org or call 203-574-8225 for adult reference or 203-574-8213 for the children's department. Thank you for watching.